What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. I wanted to wrap up the series on the March Madness preview. Had got a couple questions about was I going to release the fourth video. And the first three videos didn't get a ton of views, but a number of y'all did watch it, so I appreciate that. And I might as well finish it out and show you what the rest of my bracket looks like. I had one person message me saying, hey, I need to know the rest of your bracket because I'm tailing you completely so you can make me a lot of money, which I thought was funny because no, my bracket's going to be busted just like everybody else's, but you know what? We can try, and that's what it's all about. Let's break down this East region real quickly before we get ready to watch some basketball on Thursday. I'm going to start up at the top with Duke, and you'll notice this as a trend in my bracket. I'm going to have Duke advancing. Duke moving forward in this one. And here we will pull up the spreadsheet that we've been looking at. Rick Run Good put this together, a YouTuber who is in the fantasy golf and DFS space. Does great work and has this annual video that he puts out. He uses these analytical numbers to find leverage and game theory his way to doing very well in the bracket challenge each and every year. But I like to veer off from his picks a little bit because I usually like picking more upsets, and at times, even when the leverage on the field suggests that you should be picking an upset, he kind of leans into the analysis of, well, this is what Nate Silver says, and if there's a 90-some-odd or an 80-some-odd% chance a team's going to advance, in his video, Rick is not necessarily picking against that team. At times, I like to veer in the other direction, but you get a look at the expectations, and the expected leverage here has kind of been a mainstay in what we've been looking at. So make sure I can get this viewed appropriately here. Okay, so you'll see at the top, the I column here that we're looking at right here. Whoop. Well, I don't know how I did that. This column here, that 9% expected leverage, basically what that means is I'm picking St. Mary's to win the first game because there's a 68% chance, according to Nate Silver, that they will, and only 55% of the population on Yahoo have selected it. So those are the types of things that we've done. But at a certain point also, you have to pick the teams you think are going to win. And when you have your own personal takes involved, that can help. But let's just go ahead and jot down to St. Mary's. That is where I'm going to ride with the analytics. When there's such an overwhelming advantage seemingly there by the numbers, I'm going to take it. Not going to get too creative with Alabama, picking them to lose in the first round. We'll take Bama. Let's look at the 8-9 game. This is one that I've actually probably waffled back and forth on more so than any other pick on the bracket. Looks like Mississippi State's a slight favorite. Let's see what the analytics have to say about it in terms of diving into the leverage and what the public is picking. And again, it makes sense. If the public is picking something at a rate lesser than the likelihood considered for that event to happen, well, then you get leverage on the field by selecting the more likely event, or the event that outweighs the degree to which that team is being picked, right? That's the math behind it, and it makes sense. What was I looking at? Oh, I was looking at this Baylor-Mississippi State game. So it's like a coin flip. It's razor thin. It looks like Mississippi State is 47% chance to win it, only being picked 42% of the time. So there's some slight leverage on the field there. Nothing too crazy. This really doesn't make a difference. I kind of think, having watched the SEC all year, that Baylor wins this game. And did I write that on my bracket? I actually wrote Mississippi State on my bracket, but I haven't. That was just kind of my hand-drawn bracket. I haven't filled one out yet. I think Baylor is the better team. I am actually gonna defy what the numbers kind of tell me here and take Baylor because I just think they're the better team. Let's take a look at Liberty versus Oregon. Oregon is considered 73%. That's a huge number. But you know what? 79% are on Oregon from Yahoo. And the more I've thought about it, let's see what KenPom has to say about this Liberty team. 77. You know what? They're reasonably balanced. Top 50 in defensive efficiency and 77th in offensive efficiency. Sometimes I like pulling up the Torvik numbers as well. Let's see if I can do that real quick. Because what I'd like to see about Liberty is, and this is what it is right here. Liberty, 39.5%. Well, that's not showing up. Where is it? Yeah, right there on the very far right of the screen. As we're looking at Liberty, you can see this column here. The 39.5% from three-point range. That's appealing to me. And they defend the three really well. Their three-point defensive percentage, 28% against. That's compelling for a March Madness, is it not? That's really interesting. And they defend the three well. They take a lot of threes and they shoot a lot of threes really well, is basically what I'm seeing from Liberty. They can't offensive rebound to save their lives, but that makes sense because they're too busy chucking up threes. Man, the more I look at this, the more I like Liberty. Is this real? Second in the nation in effective field goal percentage and second in the nation in effective defense field goal? What is going on with Liberty? Why are they so... I might have to make a shift in my bracket here. Because, so I took Liberty over Oregon. I wanted to take Akron. I really wanted to take Akron, but I ended up not doing that in the way that I wrote it down. Let's take a look at Akron here. They've got some pretty good numbers from 3 as well. Let's highlight. Oh, I didn't want to highlight them that much. Just wanted to highlight so you can see that this little gold one in the middle. Ignore the one at the top. Not that one. This one. The gold bar here. I would love to look into this Akron team a little bit. Pretty good offensive efficiency. Good effective field goal percentage. Okay, so I believe that's free throw percentage, or is it free throw rate? Let's double check on that. Because I don't know if they're measuring, if Torvik is measuring how often Akron gets to the line or how often they make their free throws. Yeah, that must be related to how much they get to the line. Because there's decent 74, 75% team from free throw range. But I guess they don't get to the line much often. At any rate, you know, Arizona is such a hot, cold team, but they're a good team. Torvik's got them ranked in the top 10 in the country. They're 14th according to KenPom. They're balanced, really good offensive basketball team. I don't think I can go... Look, if you're talking about just having some fun with your bracket, I think it's compelling. But if I wanted to take Liberty to the Sweet 16, it might make more sense to go ahead and do Akron. Let's see what it has to say about here. So we talked about Oregon 73%, but 79% are picking them. All right, let me line this up a little better so we can see it. You can see that there. Which means that with Liberty, 26% chance, but being picked at less than 20%. There's good leverage there. 2.29% expected leverage. We're taking Liberty. I think we already locked that into our bracket. We did. The question is going to be Arizona. Interestingly, Arizona's got good expected leverage because Silver says, yeah, Akron's not beating them. 88%. With 85% from Yahoo. And I want to see if I can show this from Twitter. It was like ESPN Bet or something. No, it was BetMGM. I can't type. This could be... Here we go. This John Ewing tweet is the one we were going to look at. Popular bets on BetMGM in the NCAA tournament. 90% of tickets, 90% of betting tickets are in on Akron plus 14.5. Now, that doesn't mean anything for this, but typically the public is not just going to win. I would assume that the reason a lot of these on the screen are underdogs is because the public is going to bet the dogs in March Madness. Seeing that 85% on Drake, don't hate that as a Mizzou fan if the public gets slaughtered. But I'm not comfortable about the Mizzou game. Do have my Mizzou throwback basketball hat on for this video. Arkansas is a dog, 82% of bets. Yale is a dog, 82%. High Point, that's my team. That's my big underdog to make the Sweet 16. Liberty is compelling, though, too. Liberty's compelling. But that 90% on Akron, it's just like, that probably means they're getting blown out. If 90% of bets are on Akron, can you really trust it? Probably not. I like that Akron team. I'll probably still, put a bet in on just small bets on the underdog just to kind of have some fun with it. But let's see what this says. Yeah, 11%. It's very weird. That's the one underdog that is it's more popular than the team that's supposed to win. That's a rarity. So we're gonna stick with Arizona. Now, how fun would it be to potentially take Liberty in the second round? We'll get to that in a minute. BYU VCU. Let's look at the numbers on this. Nate Silver says BYU's got a 59% chance, 65% taking them on Yahoo. Damn, I don't like that because BYU is a team that I've got going moderately far. Let's see with VCU. Yeah, VCU, I mean, they would be that effective leverage team at 3.29%, wouldn't they? But again, like these numbers will change as you get deeper. That's something else to keep in mind. BYU I've got highlighted across the screen here. Look at what happens if you take BYU to make only the second round. You're losing edge on the field. But if you're taking them to the Sweet 16, there's where it flips because BYU's got a 32.89% chance per Adam Silver. Nate Silver. Rick in his videos calls him Adam Silver every time on accident. Nate Silver, 32% says BYU to make the Sweet 16. Only 27% are picking that in the brackets on Yahoo. So that's actually where, like, if you stay patient with BYU, you can get leverage back on the field. And as much as that first-round matchup with VCU is tricky because of the way that VCU defends and will slow down BYU, I'm really trying to give BYU a second chance after I liked them to win the Big 12 tournament and they got popped by Houston. So I'm trying to give them a second chance. I'm going to advance them in the bracket. Let's look at the Montana-Wisconsin matchup. Montana's given a 10% chance to win, only 5% being selected on Yahoo. Something's weird about this one to me. 89% chance to win, though, for Wisconsin. I'm not going to do it in my bracket, but if I were playing in a bracket, which I am, playing in a bracket challenge that rewards an upset in the first round, because the scoring system is the team seed, which Montana's a 14, multiplied by the round. So I'd get 14 points if I pick Montana and win. If I pick Wisconsin and win, it's only 3 points. But since that's not the scoring on ESPN, I'm not going to go too crazy with the upsets. We will go with BYU and Wisconsin to reach that game, which is pretty chalky for the region. I mean, we took the 9 over the 8 and the 12 over the 5, but otherwise we've got chalk so far. But it's not going to stay chalky the whole way through. Duke Baylor, look, man, I'm going to be honest. I got Duke. I'll look at what the analytics say for it. Nate Silver, 86%, Yahoo, 91%. So already you're into the negative expected leverage with Duke. I'm just not going to worry about that because I think Duke is winning this tournament. Just to be honest with you, that's who I have winning it all. So I might as well cut the charade and just advance Duke. I don't think anybody's beating Duke. I think Tennessee's beating Duke. I do have Texas Tech beating Michigan State there. I don't know what that score will be. Probably a higher score prediction. But it's most without going over, right? So that's kind of the way I've got the tournament playing out. Did that even show on screen when I was doing that? Yeah, there you go. So Duke's my champion, but I want to look at Liberty, Arizona, and see how interesting that could be. Because that could be kind of fun. That could be a way I change it around from what I had to what I could have. Where's Liberty? 7%, which is a low rate. A little bit of expected leverage. Arizona, yep, you know what? It's still Arizona. As much as I want to advance Liberty, for getting a high seed, like a good seed, and getting leverage on the field, I don't really know why it is that Arizona's not getting love. Is it Oregon that's getting the love? Yeah, basically, Oregon's got a 33% chance to advance the Sweet 16, Arizona 56% chance, and basically Yahoo voters have it a little bit more 50-50. They look at the 5 seed and they're like, they're probably as good as the 4. According to Nate Silver's data, not the case. And we don't have Oregon advancing anyway, so let's go Arizona. But I might change some of my brackets in that other contest to pick Liberty to get a little deeper after looking at how fun they are with the 3-point shooting. BYU, Wisconsin. Let's take a look at them. I like BYU because I'm a little bit nervous about Wisconsin off the jump, and we're getting some good, positive leverage over the field here if BYU gets it done, as I talked about. Maybe it wasn't that way for the first round, but it is here. Huge negative for Wisconsin, negative 6.3% on the expected leverage. So, yeah, we're taking BYU and feeling good about it. Down at the bottom, we go with St. Mary's or Alabama. The thing of it is, you get into this territory, and it's like, I'm not sure St. Mary's is going to be in this game to begin with. That being said, boy, oh boy, is that some good expected leverage over the field. 22% chance that they'll make the Sweet 16. Only a 12% of the Yahoo population is betting on it. 69% for Bama. 79% on Yahoo. Oh, boy. So that's pretty negative for the expected leverage. This would be a great leverage play over the field. And you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. My bracket that I wrote down has Alabama winning this game. But here's where I think the leverage stuff, like at times it's overplayed, but here's where I think it can really matter. I've got BYU beating Alabama in this round anyway. And let's see if that is a good analytical decision or not. Kind of 12% chance, 11% picking them. Not a ton of edge there, but enough. Frankly, Arizona is one that has good edge, but I'm not doing that. I'm not taking Duke out. I've got BYU winning this anyway. It would be nice to kind of knock Alabama out a little bit earlier because BYU probably has a better time against St. Mary's. Maybe, I don't know. Stylistically, I really want to see BYU Bama. So like if you were really game theorying this out, I'm gonna make this a note for myself. I want to after I do this video, take a look at St. Mary's and take a look at Liberty in my other contests. Because I'll leave it with Alabama for this, where the scoring doesn't really benefit to take that upset. But I think there's actually a benefit in other scoring settings to do it. And I'm going to take Duke over BYU, but that's the one that's interesting. Like, I hope that's making sense. If you're in a large contest and there's a 22% chance St. Mary's does something, it's a low chance, but still like decent enough that it's a nice little, it's in that upset range to pick. It's not like taking a 2% Akron to make the Sweet 16 or 7% Liberty, which I wanted to do. 22%, there's some juice behind that. But when only 12% are picking it, there's where you have an advantage over the field if it happens, because you're one of the few that had it, is basically what the implication would be there. And I'm kind of wondering if that's the way to play it when I happened to believe that BYU would beat Alabama anyway. Is say, all right, what am I doing rooting for Bama when I'm going to knock them out here as it is? Do the thing that gives you leverage over the field. That would be, I think, the good analytical way to play it. But part of the reason I had this in my bracket was I wanted to see that BYU-Bama matchup. So I think I'm going to keep it this way. But just kind of, playing it out for the game theory, that's something I wanted to explain. So that's my East region. My Final Four is seen here. Michigan State, Texas Tech, Duke, and Tennessee. I never go very chalky. It'll probably be Florida and Auburn. It'll probably be Houston. I hate to have too much chalk in my Final Four. I put a chalky champion out there. It's going to be Duke. But otherwise, we'll submit that bracket. But otherwise, I went with non-1 seats. That's a good-looking bracket. It's a good-looking, the confetti falling on the Duke Blue Devils. Let me know what you think. Really, we all know the confetti is going to be falling on the Missouri Tigers. I just couldn't do it for my bracket. I'm already going to be rooting for them. And you know what? If that makes me not good enough fan, then so be it. But I think Texas Tech is a dangerous team too. So anyway, that's my East region. That's my full bracket. Appreciate you guys for watching these videos. I'll get this up as quick as I can so you can see it before Thursday. That'll do it for this series. Mostly baseball videos to come on this channel for the time being. Thank you guys so much. Peace.